Tonight, running for what? The race for public school board trustees while provincial supervision nullifies their position.
I actually think it will help put school boards on the path to being better run with less chaos, less confusion.
Plus, preventing future tragedies. The jury recommendations focusing on de-escalation after a fatal police shooting. And the Forest City in a snapshot.
You could teach Canadian history through even just focusing on London.
The local project celebrating our city's legacy after 2 centuries.
CTV News with Carlyle Fiset.
Good evening. Thanks for joining us. We begin tonight with the race for public school board trustees this year, a race for positions that effectively don't exist. That's because of ongoing provincial supervision, keeping the future of trustees uncertain. As Jerry Dewan reports, that isn't stopping candidates from throwing their name in the race.
As of Wednesday afternoon, Sherry Moore was one of 4 people running to be a Thames Valley District School Board trustee, and she's the only incumbent running, even though effectively there's no position to fill.
We are likely going to be under supervision for some time, so no, there isn't going to be any honorarium or expenses or any of that. There's no sitting at the board. There's no actually helping make the decisions.
After a provincial audit raised concerns about financial mismanagement, Education Minister Paul Calandra put the board under control of a supervisor. But Moore insists trustees were taking steps to get spending in check.
If you look at the minutes from the board meetings in the year before we went under supervision, trustees were absolutely trying to get spending reined in.
The province has reported the Thames Board's debt reached $32 million last year. Minister Calandra says he's going to restore the trustee positions in those boards that are currently under supervision, and he's going to change the administrative structure of all boards. Calandra says trustees will only return when the board is fiscally stable, telling a gathering in Kilworth 2 weeks ago.
If it takes me 1 year, 2 years, or 10 years, I'll take the time that's needed to put these boards back on track.
Education analyst and researcher Debbie Kassman believes it's the right course of action for the province to take.
While it appears to be a loss of local democracy, I actually think it will help put school boards on the path to being better run with less chaos, less confusion, and less dysfunction.
Moore believes she can still play a role in supporting public education.
I'm still involved in the Public School Board Association, and I'm still advocating provincially and locally.
Moore says schools continue to be underfunded by the province, contributing to fiscal struggles. Jerry Dewan, CTV News.
Researchers with Western's Northern Tornadoes Project have confirmed 2 separate weather events from last weekend. They say there was a microburst at 4 p.m. on Saturday in the Lucan area, followed shortly after by a tornado farther east. Both events have been classified as EF0 with estimated wind speeds reaching 130 and 110 kilometers an hour, respectively.
Good evening. We had some active weather overnight as well as a strong low pressure system crossed through, bringing with it some showers and embedded thunderstorms. We have been dealing with a lot of cloud cover today and some light moisture along the shores of Lake Huron. The winds, that's the real story. Heading into the evening, they're going to kick up out of the northwest 30 to 50 kilometers per hour, and our temperatures dropping. But good news, we are tracking an area of high pressure as it approaches. That means sunshine and warmer conditions for the long weekend. We'll break down the forecast. That's still ahead.
Thank you, Rita. Jury members returned 10 recommendations last night from the coroner's inquest looking into the police shooting death of a man in London 5 years ago. Those recommendations include officers getting more de-escalation and conflict prevention training. With more, here's Nick Paparella.
After a week and a half of submissions, the jury at the coroner's inquest looking into the London police shooting death of 29-year-old Justin Barassa returned with a total of 10 recommendations. In the early morning hours of October 28, 2021, officers were attempting to arrest the Sarnia man because they mistakenly thought he was involved in a possible break-and-enter investigation along Richmond Row in the downtown area. He was shot and killed after he placed one of the constables in a rear-naked chokehold during an altercation. After spending a day deliberating, the jury made the recommendations to help prevent future similar incidents. Among them, they want police to develop scenario-specific guidelines to support de-escalation and conflict prevention and recognize that time, distance, and containment are tactical options. Also, review and enhance training programs, including defensive tactics. Look at best practices for police radio use to improve communications for an active investigation. And to assist officers to deal with shooting incidents, the jury recommended post-incident tactical debriefing and organizational learning, including officer wellness, along with post-use of force assessment of officers, including a psychological fitness for duty test. After the jury released the recommendations, the Barraza family reached out to CTV News through their lawyer in an email, saying in part, Justin's life deserved more time, more care, and a different ending. Meanwhile, the London Police Association put out a statement supporting the actions of the two officers involved in the case. Nick Paparella, CTV News.
London police say one person was taken into custody this morning after reports of possible gunfire in South London. This was the scene on Baseline Road, just east of Wharncliffe. According to police, officers were called just after 8 a.m. They say road closures were put in place while hold and secure protocols were implemented at nearby schools. However, police have said those were precautionary measures and no firearm was found. In fact, they say they found evidence of fireworks being set off. No injuries were reported, and police say no charges will be laid. A British Columbia judge has found a former RCMP officer not guilty of acting on behalf of the Chinese government. He'd been accused of being a double agent in what turned into a high-profile trial on foreign interference. With more, here's Judy Trin.
In her decision, Justice Martha Devlin said the Crown did not prove that Miker intended to act primarily for the PRC's benefit or that he was in fact directed by the Chinese government. No one can be said to be prepared to do something they had no intention of doing, she said. The Crown's case hinged on an email chain intercepted by the FBI. In the emails, Miker refers to a real estate mogul in Vancouver with more than $100 million in assets. He wrote that he wants to impress upon the crook that we hold his future. But Miker's alleged target, Kevin's son, was never mentioned in that email. The Crown said Miker was involved in China's Project Fox Hunt and wanted to pressure Son to return to China to collect a bounty. Miker was arrested in July 2023 and charged while visiting Canada from Hong Kong. Here's what he said after he was found not guilty.
I live on the other side of the world and have for the last 20 years. So without my wife, my children especially, they're still of a young age. So they've been 3 years without their father. That's time I'll never get back. They'll never get back.
5 years ago, CSIS issued an espionage alert about William Miker. The retired Mountie had moved from Canada to Hong Kong, where he had started a business helping state-owned enterprises recoup their assets. CSIS was concerned that Miker was somehow gathering information for China after the arrest of Meng Wanzhou and the detention of the two Michaels. Judy Trin, CTV News, Ottawa.
Sources tell CTV News a new pipeline taking Alberta crude to the west coast is imminent. They say the decisive issues have now been worked out between the feds and Alberta's government. Graham Richardson has more on how we got to this point and what happens next.
After years of opposition and protest, pipeline politics are changing. What seemed entirely unlikely just 18 months ago is now one major step closer.
Are you willing to allow a new pipeline?
The Prime Minister not confirming it, but sources telling CTV News his government and Alberta are set to announce a deal on a new pipeline to the West Coast.
I think it's a great thing for the industry and it's a great thing for Canada.
This is one part of a complex process, and it was telegraphed last week by Alberta Premier Daniel Smith in Ottawa.
Sometimes it happens that you get the two principals in the room and you kind of sort through what some of the disagreements are, and I felt like we sorted through a lot today. Had a meeting of the minds, and I'm hoping that we'll be able to announce an agreement very soon.
A key sticking point was the industrial carbon price rising higher each year. Sources say the Carney Liberals have agreed to slow the growth in the price significantly. Under the plan introduced in 2016, the carbon price was supposed to hit $170 per ton by 2030. Now that will be reduced and only hit $130 a ton by 2040.
Having investment in our own energy sovereignty. And I think in these circumstances, we need to adapt and we need to invest.
Some environmental groups would not openly criticize the shift, but they are clearly disappointed.
We've been suggesting that getting to $130 a ton for the Alberta industrial carbon price by 2030 was a reasonable and effective deadline. Instead, it looks like that's going to happen by 2040, fully a decade later. So that is disappointing.
Of course, hanging over all of this is years of acrimony between Alberta and Ottawa. Will this change all of that? Probably not, but it will be seen as one of the first positive steps in many years. Graham Richardson, CTV News, Ottawa.
New data from Stats Canada shows more and more Canadians are increasingly suspicious of the information they find online. Nearly half of respondents said they're having a harder time separating fact from fiction. Heather Wright reports.
I am not Morgan Freeman, and what you see is not real.
The line between what's real and what's fake is getting blurrier. According to a new survey, 80% of Canadians saw news or information online they suspected to be misleading or false at least once a month. And nearly half of Canadians say they are finding it harder to distinguish between fact and fiction.
What I think is more worrying is not the misinformation people see online that they recognize as misinformation. It's the misinformation they see online and actually believe.
Angus Lockhart is a policy analyst at the DAIS, a think tank at Toronto Metropolitan University. He says while the spread of mis and disinformation has been increasing for years, AI is making it easier to create fake or misleading content, specifically deepfake videos.
We're seeing very quick rises in the number of deepfakes that are posted and shared online. And that's one of the scariest ones because that technology is only getting better and only making it harder to judge what's real and what's fake online.
The misinformation survey also found more than 60% of Canadians are very or extremely concerned about online misinformation. But experts say not enough is being done by the government or by big tech.
Unfortunately, there is a lack of scrutiny on these big tech companies.
Ahmed Al-Rawi is a communications professor at Simon Fraser University and says social media companies have shown an inability to police the content that's on their platforms. And more onus needs to be put on the government to enact stricter rules.
The only language they understand is the language of financial penalties. So once you send warnings regarding these penalties, I think they will start listening.
Experts say it is vital to fact-check information found online, especially on social media, though they acknowledge it is something that's getting harder to do. Heather Wright, CTV News, Toronto.
Organizers with the Home County Music Festival say they're back this summer, returning to a 3-day format. With more on those plans and a significant milestone marked this year, here's Lauren Stallone.
The Donaldson Home County Music Festival is celebrating 50 years with its return to Victoria Park.
It's been really wonderful seeing the community rally behind the festival last year, and there's a lot of people that they've been coming to the festival for 30, 40, 50 years and have really found a home in the festival.
Originally a 3-day-long event, the festival was canceled in 2024 before making a 1-day comeback last year.
While there might be, desire out there to return to a 3-day festival, we want to be mindful of our growth. We want to be mindful of sustainability and just be measured in that. Being the 50th anniversary, we thought it was important to go a little bigger this year and at least bring back a second day.
The volunteer-run festival will feature live music by Canadian artists, local vendors, and community connection.
We've been talking to the London Music Office. They've very graciously provided some resources to allow us to have a second stage. It's going to be a UNESCO stage, so it'll be featuring artists from various UNESCO cities around Canada.
London Brewing has been partnering with Home County for 5 years now. We've been the official beer sponsor and the organizer of their beer garden.
London Brewing Co-op says they will be launching a new beer to mark the special occasion.
That will be coming out before the festival as well. So way to take a little bit of it home, and there will be a portion of proceeds going directly to the festival as well.
Set to take place from July 24th to the 25th, organizers say the anniversary year is an opportunity to honor the festival's roots.
We would like to, I guess, foster that experience for future generations as well.
Lauren Stallone, CTV News.
City officials have partnered with local historians marking London's bicentennial with snapshots of the Forest City's history. With more on that project, here's Sean Irvin.
In just a few words, a unique piece of London's history comes alive on a lawn sign.
You can get just enough in there to tell people the important nugget.
Over 200 years, London has produced tragic and triumphant nuggets to reflect on.
We hope those are the quirky, the unusual. There's enough fun in there as well as to balance the serious. There's enough serious to balance the fun.
The signs are the creation of multiple partners, including the city, the London and Middlesex Historical Society, Museum London, and students in public history at Western University. The latter have been shocked to learn that the history of the Forest City is a reflection of Canada itself.
And, I like to say that you could teach Canadian history through even just focusing on London. At least start there. That's the hook.
The hook includes nods to diversity by bringing to light the stories of Londoners that were lost to colonization or ignorance.
Are there different folks who have kind of been marginalized in the past? Their stories haven't been heard. And it's really to help better reflect, I think, the city that we live in and have been living in for 200 years of European settlement.
200 Forest City facts will eventually be placed on social media channels and a website.
And when it gets a little nicer, we'll put the signs out along the Templeton Parkway for the public to read and enjoy. And hopefully at the screens in the community centers, and just so that people can really feel proud about their city.
Now, Forest City Facts coincides with our own efforts here at CTV to mark London's 200. Already 2 segments of our series have been aired bi-weekly on Friday nights. Our next segment comes this Friday, focusing on London's only battle site of the War of 1812, Reservoir Hill. In time, all episodes will be part of a special London 200 broadcast. In London, Sean Irvin, CTV News.
A Stratford man is nearly halfway through a charity run, completing the equivalent of a marathon every day, making his way up to Tobermory. Scott Miller has more on his journey and who he's running for.
Sam Simon receives a hero's welcome in Ayton as the 57-year-old runs from his home in Stratford to Tobermory in honor of his wife, who is currently fighting cancer.
My wife has terminal cancer. It's her 3rd bout of this, and she's my hero. What she goes through, this is nothing what I'm doing.
Simon left Stratford on Monday and is spending tonight in Hanover. He's ran about 113 kilometers over 3 days, not quite halfway to his 251-kilometer total that will land him and his crew in Tobermory, hopefully by Monday.
We're running up to Tobermory through the Bruce Peninsula. It's going to take us about a week, 8 days. We're doing about a marathon a day, give or take. And we're doing this to raise money for 3 wonderful organizations.
The Stratford General Hospital, Wellspring Stratford Cancer Centre, and London Health Sciences Centre Cancer Centre will be the beneficiaries of Sam's epic run for cancer, a run that is already taking a toll on his body.
The body is, I'm not going to lie to you, it's feeling it at night. So at night, when we stop, they ice up the knees, and it's my knees, and I have a blister on the one foot, but I've got a lot of guidance on how to do that. So other than the one blister on the right foot, which we're working on, and the knee's a little sore, we're doing wonderful.
Simon says the 6 months of training leading up to his epic run has certainly helped, as has his wonderful road crew, keeping him healthy and on the right track. He knows why he's doing this, which keeps him putting one foot in front of the other.
We're just keep moving, keep 1 foot at a time forward.
Simon has already raised over $24,000 to date for the 3 health organizations that have helped most with his wife's care. You can follow, learn more, and donate to Sam Simon's epic run for cancer by visiting our website. Near Ayton, Scott Miller, CTV News.
When we come back, first pitch ready. We look ahead to a new London Majors season and the new look Canadian Baseball League. The tee up with Brent Lale coming up next. Welcome back. It's the Tee Up with Brent Lale. And Brent, we start with the OHL final. The Kitchener Rangers clinching a championship last night in a sweep.
Yeah, midway through the season when the Knights traded Jared Woolley and Sam O'Reilly to the Kitchener Rangers, their rivals had assembled a roster to win it all. And there's Sam O'Reilly receiving the Wayne Gretzky Trophy as playoff MVP. He'd already won the regular season MVP. What an acquisition he turned out to be, scoring the clinching goal last night. 17 goals, 11 assists in 18 games, sealing it with the empty netter. The Rangers are moving on to Kelowna for the Memorial Cup as OHL champs.
Unreal. And I don't think it's sunk in yet, but it's unreal with the group of guys we have here. It's so special, and it's a moment to remember the rest of my life.
Yeah, they're a good team, and they're in the finals for a reason, so they gave us a good battle, and yeah, it was a good series.
It's amazing when you're having fun with these guys. It's a special group we have. Not a day I went by where I haven't thought about like what it's going to be out after. Like, these guys are amazing, so I love these boys for life.
Now this week, some of the best golfers in the region teed up with their eyes on the upcoming U.S. Open.
Yeah, the St. Thomas Golf and Country Club hosted a sectional qualifier with 76 players vying for 4 spots in the final stage of qualifying. And you can hear that wind. It was a tough day. Some of the top pros and amateurs from the region were in for that tough test. There's Victor Chichelski of Cambridge. Nice shot into the middle of the green there. He earned one of the 4 spots. There's David Lee Sheeman of Aurora. This for birdie on 17, and the fist pump shows he's happy. He shot a 70, and he's moving on. And then Thomas Code of Dorchester pouring in a birdie here. Code would shoot a 1 under 71, getting himself in a 3-way playoff. He would move on, though. He's off to the final stage of Canadian Open qualifying and the U.S. Open qualifying. His dreams of playing a PGA Tour event are closer.
It'd be great to make it into both. You know, I might make it into Canadian Open and U.S. Open. I'd be walking on clouds. You know, it was great to have status on the Canadian Tour, but to make it on the big stage and see how the game matches those guys and just be out to compete with who you're watching on TV, it would be a ton of fun. Would be the dream for sure.
Honestly, my lifetime dream is to play a PGA Tour event, right? Either Canadian Open, the U.S. Open. So yeah, to have a chance to try and qualify. I played 3 times in the final qualifying. Had a lot of good chances to get in the Canadian Open. Yeah, I lost a big playoff years ago, right? So a lot of chance to get the Canadian Open. Hopefully this will go a little better.
And just a few days after hosting that event, the best amateurs in the province will be coming to the club this weekend. The annual Early Bird Championship is the unofficial kickoff to the golf tournament season and will provide a true test. St. Thomas Golf and Country Club can be a beast.
Early Bird has been going on for a long time. You have names like Mo Norman, Garrett Rank, Nick Westlock, Charles Fitzsimmons, who won last year. A lot of local guys that have played over the years, and it is the true kind of kickoff to the golf season. It's this place is pretty historic. We're in year number 127 now at the club, so there's not an easy shot out here. It's a funny way to say it, that it's not very easy to set this golf course up easy, and it definitely shows. It's a real test.
The Canadian Baseball League season is underway. It's the first campaign after rebranding as a professional league.
Yeah, some more import players, some higher salaries, and just a lot of talent are some of the changes. The London Majors will open their season Friday at home to the Barrie Baycats. The teams hope to polish up the game day experience, both on and off the field, to make the CBL a more professional-style league. The Majors went 1-2 in the preseason and are looking forward to the upcoming year. They've brought in some new talent to complement the returning guys who went 24-18 a year ago.
I'm excited. This will be my first pro year, so I'm excited, ready to build my career as I go. It's the world's oldest baseball ground, so I mean, it's awesome to be out here like this and have the oldest stadium in the world.
Our team looks really good in camp here. We got a bunch of talent and we're working really hard, so it's been a really fun camp. I'm excited to see how we look this year. We got a lot of good athletes out here and a lot of power in our lineup and speed, so it'll just be really good baseball to watch.
We're going to play hard. The guys are going to compete. They're not going to cheat the fans. They're going to hustle all the time. We want to put balls in play, you know, bat to ball, a lot of contact, get on base, cut down on the strikeouts. And our pitching and our defense has always been the key to our game. So that's what you're going to see from us, you know, just good fundamental baseball.
And speaking about making this league professional, how about this? Former Major League All-Star Yasiel Puig is playing for Toronto this year. And on opening day this past weekend, he hit a pair of home runs against Kitchener at Christie Pitts. And with that much power, he could set a new record this year if he plays the entire season.
A pair of London curlers came home with a silver medal this week from the World Junior Championships.
Yeah, big congrats to Owen Henry and Brooklyn Idison, who finished second to Team Japan at the World Juniors. They were a perfect 8-0 heading into the final and had the lead late, but they gave it away. They lost the gold, but hey, they did win the silver. A massive blow to Western University athletics and a major step forward, though, in the career of athlete Jackson McKay. We've talked a lot about him in this space over the past couple of years, from his success at OFSA to successful start to his football and track career at Western. McKay has now decided to focus on track in his quest to become an Olympian. He's transferring to the University of Arkansas, one of the most prestigious schools in the NCAA. And some excitement here. St. Thomas native Sadie Wade has her first career goal in the Northern Super League. She got a near post angle and volleyed home the pass for the goal. Great feed. The University of Nebraska grad has her first career goal. What a shot that was, Carlyle. And sticking with soccer, the high school season is getting into its playoffs right now, and also its racing season. Delaware Speedway kicks off this weekend, and so does the NASCAR Canada Series.
All right, Brent Lale with the tee-up. Thanks very much, Brent. We can see Rita Ismail's on the desk with us as well. Shifting gears to the weather forecast, how are things looking for the long weekend, Rita?
Well, you know, for the races, beautiful. We have sunshine, mild. Some people would call it warm for the weekend, but today it has been anything but. We've had strong gusty winds out of the northwest. Our temperature continuing to struggle at only 13 degrees our high, and that was actually achieved overnight. Normal this time of year is a 19-degree daytime high. We weren't anywhere near that. Our temperature dropped down to a low of 9. We did have that low pressure system swing on through overnight, and the air mass in behind it significantly cooler. Record 29 degrees on this day in 1991. Record low -4 in 2020. As we head into the night, you could see some lingering cloud cover. This is all associated with that low pressure system that came in last night, brought some significant rainfall to parts of the region, and there were some embedded thunderstorms as well. Throughout the day today, overcast conditions, some light rainfall along the shores of Lake Huron, but for the most part here in London, we've managed to stay dry, just dealing with those stronger winds in behind that low pressure system. Now, as you can see, we do have a big area of high pressure that will swing through, but we are also tracking a couple of low pressure systems that might impact our long weekend forecast. But as of now, cloud cover for your Thursday, and then heading into Friday, we do see clearing Thursday night into Friday. There is that big break for your Friday morning. Most of Friday, we should be under mainly sunny conditions. There is a chance for some light rainfall to push through, but for us here, the probability is sitting quite low for Friday. And then heading into the weekend, some sunshine and well above seasonal temperatures. This evening, though, again, the winds out of the northwest, 20 to 40 kilometers per hour. Our temperature hovering around 7 degrees. And then waking up tomorrow, those winds will continue to gust. They'll actually pick up out of the northwest. As that system starts to exit, the winds will be out of the northwest, 30 to 50 kilometers per hour. So it will feel significantly cooler tomorrow. We're expecting that cloud cover to start to clear late in the day for Thursday, waking up Friday to lots of sunshine, but that sunshine will be mixing in with some cloud cover in the afternoon. And again, slight chance for a passing shower, but right now the probability is sitting low. Same thing goes for Saturday. We're expecting a nice mix of sun and cloud, and the temperature is the real big story for this Victoria Day long weekend. We are anticipating a big warm up in Midwestern Ontario. Even our overnight lows above normal and into the double digits Sunday into Monday. The next chance for rain in terms of the long weekend won't really arrive until late day Monday, when we could see some showers push through into Tuesday morning, with a high anywhere between 26 to 29 forecasted Saturday through to Tuesday, before we tumble back down to reality on Wednesday with 15 degrees. Similar conditions in store for Midwestern Ontario. Cloud cover for Thursday, 11 degrees. We'll struggle tomorrow, but warm up quickly Friday, 19 degrees, mix of sun and cloud. The chance for rain is definitely there, but at a lower probability. Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, we're expecting sunshine and warmth well above seasonal right into holiday Monday, before rain moves in late day Monday, and then showers expected on Tuesday. The high 26 right now for Tuesday, and then we drop right back down to 12 degrees on Wednesday. Carlyle?
Thanks very much, Rita. Still ahead, push to the financial brink. The latest data showing more Canadians facing bankruptcy.
TJ, if you won $1 million, what would you do with it?
I'd have a gigantic nacho fountain in my house, just flowing cheese all the time.
Wait, can I come over?
No.
You have a chance to win a $100 OLG voucher tomorrow morning at 7:10 in Pricetown. Seriously, you're not going to let me in?
My nacho fountain.
Ontario's biggest country music festival is back for 2026. Enter online at ctvlondon.ca for your chance to win a 4-pack of VIP tickets plus camping to Boots and Hearts at Burles Creek Event Grounds from August 7th to the 9th.
Gas prices are rising higher ahead of the long weekend. The average price per litre in Ontario was about $1.90 today, up 2 cents a litre from yesterday. Industry analysts say another 2 to 4 cent increase is expected by the end of the week. For most of southern Ontario, diesel is expected to rise higher as well, clearing $2.20 a litre. New research shows more Canadians are filing for insolvency at the highest rate seen since the global financial crisis in 2008. On top of that, there are concerns more households are carrying too much debt. Pat Foran reports.
According to the Office of the Superintendent of Bankruptcy, more than 37,000 Canadians either filed a consumer proposal or declared bankruptcy during the first 3 months of this year. That's an increase of 8.5% over the same period in 2025.
I'm not surprised by these numbers. We know that about half of Canadian households are living paycheck to paycheck, which means, they have no savings.
The Canadian Association of Insolvency and Restructuring Professionals says Canadians are carrying record amounts of debt. Many mortgages will come due this year at higher interest rates. Rising food and gas prices, along with other factors, are pushing some households to the brink. In about 80% of cases, clients choose a consumer proposal instead of bankruptcy, which allows them to have a fixed monthly payment and stops interest from accumulating.
Most of the time, they will pay less than what they owe. It's based on their budget and capacity to pay. And you keep your assets in a proposal. In a bankruptcy, you may lose assets.
Almost 14,000 people in Ontario filed consumer proposals and bankruptcy so far this year. That's almost a 15% increase over the year before.
The rate of increase in insolvencies is a lot worse in Ontario than it is in the rest of Canada because we are the engine of the economy.
Licensed insolvency trustee Doug Hoy says tariffs have been detrimental to Ontario and says increasing unemployment remains a concern.
I suspect that we will see a continued, perhaps gradual, but certainly increase in the number of personal insolvencies filed in Ontario for many months to come.
Hoyes recommends keeping debt levels low and to curb your expenses. Anyone facing financial hardships can seek the advice of a licensed insolvency trustee. There is usually no charge for the first meeting. Pat Foran, CTV News.
Canada's main stock index fell today amid broad-based losses. The TSX lost about 250 points. In New York, the Dow dropped 67. The Nasdaq gained 314. The Canadian dollar added a modest 0.04 of a cent. On commodity markets, gold gained $20 an ounce. Oil lost $1.16 a barrel. Later on CTV News, an audience with the Prime Minister. Local astronaut Jeremy Hansen and his Artemis crewmates honored in Ottawa. Welcome back. Police in the Peel region say they've arrested and charged 2 suspects accused of producing counterfeit license plates. Investigators say they identified a registered online business believed to be knowingly producing and selling fake license plates that are linked to multiple criminal investigations across Canada, more than 30 of which are in Ontario.
There's definitely a concern to the public, which is one of the reasons why we chose to investigate this. A number of these plates, as I mentioned, were involved in flight from police incidents. There are circumstances as well where we believe that these plates have been involved in collisions where the person involved in the collision fled the scene. So it's one of the main focuses on trying to shut this operation down is also to shut down the crime that's associated with these license plates.
2 men in their late 20s, both from Hamilton, now face several charges. Officials with Elections Alberta say the separatist leader at the center of a massive public data leak is not cooperating with their investigation. As Tim Brooke reports, if that continues, there could be serious consequences.
David Parker is in hot water with Elections Alberta. Not only did his separatist group, the Centurion Project, access and share the electors list, but now the agency says he's not obeying a cease and desist related to that data leak.
I'm sure that there's going to be, quite extensive involvement from investigative lawyers, general counsel, looking to see what sorts of measures they can undertake to gain compliance.
The list Parker has contains the names and addresses of close to 3 million residents. Elections Alberta says 23 people were provided it and 545 others accessed it through the Centurion Project's online tool. Experts believe those who don't obey orders will likely face obstruction charges and potentially contempt of court penalties. That could involve fines, jail time, or both.
One of the best benefits of enforcement, of effective enforcement, is to send a message to other individuals who might contemplate doing something similar.
This isn't Parker's first run-in with Elections Alberta. Crown Debt Collection is already after him and his group Take Back Alberta over 11 unpaid fines, totaling almost $122,000. Just last month, Parker called the agency corrupt to the core, a den of evil, and a tool to suppress democracy. The Justice Minister isn't speaking to media. The one UCP MLA says her government trusts an ongoing RCMP investigation. It's unclear if Parker will comply with that.
We have said we will be looking forward to see what they bring forward so that we can get to the bottom of what happened there.
For now, Alberta's chief electoral officer believes the voter list should not be shared with any political parties until there are better privacy protections in place. The leak, just the latest thing on the agency's plate ahead of a busy autumn.
The volume of work is unprecedented. I used to drink from a garden hose. Now I'm drinking from a fire hose.
Tim Brooke, CTV News, Calgary.
Canadian winemakers say recent efforts to ease interprovincial trade barriers haven't gone far enough. They say with several provinces banning U.S. alcohol, it should be easier to reach customers. As Rachel Aiello reports, that doesn't appear to be the case.
If there's false barriers erected between provinces, it doesn't make sense, does it?
Winemaker Tim Kepfer would like to expand the reach of his small winery.
There's lots of room to do better from our perspective. There's never been infrastructure to ship wine to other provinces, so that market's still young and inaccessible to a winery my size.
Billions of dollars in untapped economic benefit is being left on winery floors, according to a new report. Despite a national push to dismantle interprovincial trade barriers, many persist and are hindering the Canadian wine sector's ability to grow. Canadian wines currently make up just under 29% of domestic wine sales, contributing $10 billion annually to the GDP. But new analysis estimates that increasing the market share for made-in-Canada wine to 51% could grow the sector's GDP contribution to $13.7 billion a year. Halfway between Ottawa and Toronto, the county is home to dozens of wineries, producing award-winning sparkling, delicate reds, crisp whites, and innovative natural wines. But despite provinces' U.S. booze bans opening up shelf space, many local producers say there's still challenges gaining access.
There are so many different rules between all our regulatory systems that it is actually very difficult to market that to a consumer and to explain what is actually going on. At the end of the day, it should be, would you like to buy a bottle of wine from your local winery? Yes, here you go, and have a good time.
The industry wants a federal strategy and a reduced tax burden. Right now, according to Wine Growers Canada, mid-size wineries pay on average 14 times more in excise duty than their U.S. competitors.
That means that winery in the United States has a greater chance of investing in their business, growing their business, whereas the winery in Ontario, or any place in Canada for that matter, would face a significant impact.
The federal government says it's done its part.
We think the provinces need to do more. We've talked to the provinces about moving faster.
Wineries across the country sustain more than 99,000 jobs. Minister LeBlanc said today he agrees it's in the national interest to let the wine from these vines flow more freely. Rachel Aiello, CTV News, Prince Edward County.
Tomorrow on CTV News, sounding the alarm, the London Fire Department's new safety campaign, making sure local households have proper smoke and carbon monoxide detectors. Tomorrow on CTV News at 6.
Tonight's weather snapshot sent in from our viewer David Robinson, who captured this great close-up of a male robin in their red maple tree. Thanks so much for sharing, Dave. The wind will continue to gust this evening from the northwest with cooler temperatures in store for tonight. We have overcast skies for Thursday, but sunshine and warmth will return just in time for the Victoria Day long weekend.
The latest reports on American and Iranian peace negotiations indicate the two sides remain far apart. The conflict has cut off shipping traffic through the Strait of Hormuz, which typically carries about a fifth of the world's oil supply. The Iranians appear to have firmed up their control over the waterway, reportedly making deals with Iraq and Pakistan to ship oil and natural gas from the region. Officials with the International Energy Agency say the world's oil supply will fall by about 4 million barrels a day this year, with more than 1 billion barrels of Middle East supply already lost. President Donald Trump has arrived in Beijing for a 2-day summit with his Chinese counterpart. Trump is the first American president to visit China in nearly a decade. He's expected to discuss opening up China to more U.S. businesses, bringing with him several American corporate executives. A new trial has been ordered for a former personal injury lawyer who was convicted of killing his wife and son. The American legal saga became the subject of true crime podcasts and documentaries. With more on these latest developments, here's Joy Malvin.
I'm innocent. I would never hurt my wife, Maggie, and I would never hurt my son, Pawpaw.
The trial dominated headlines and cable news. Alex Murdaugh tearfully denied executing his wife, Maggie, and youngest son, Paul, on the family's estate to cover up his financial crimes.
I was on the phone with 911, and I was trying to tend to Pawpaw. I was trying to tend to Maggie.
The shocking fall from grace spawned true crime podcasts and documentaries.
Alec Murdaugh would kill Paul and Maggie.
Another twist in this southern saga? South Carolina's Supreme Court unanimously overturned Murdaugh's murder conviction, ruling the county clerk Becky Hill, who pleaded guilty to obstruction, had tampered with the jury. The justices wrote the clerk placed her fingers on the scales of justice, denying Murdaugh a fair trial.
Strongest point. I think the jury tampering by the clerk is something they were engaged in.
Murdaugh claims he is innocent. Though he lied about his alibi, there was no physical evidence linking him to the murders.
He said he deserved to go to prison for what he did financially, but he can't accept the fact that he was convicted of murdering his wife and son.
South Carolina's Attorney General, now running for governor, says the state will aggressively seek to retry Alex Murdaugh for the murders of Maggie and Paul as soon as possible.
Even with a new trial, Murdaugh won't be leaving prison anytime soon. He's still serving a 40-year sentence for stealing millions from his clients. Joy Melvin, CTV News, Washington.
Finally tonight, a meeting between the Prime Minister and the crew of the Artemis 2 moon mission. The astronauts were invited to celebrate their accomplishments and highlight Canada's contributions to space exploration. With more, here's Annie Bergeron-Oliver.
We didn't really see this either because this was so cool.
It was a different kind of moon mission in Ottawa today.
I think we saw that crater.
The Artemis 2 crew giving Prime Minister Mark Carney and a group of students special insight into their epic 10-day lunar flyby mission. 12-year-old Louis Castro Lopez among the middle school students who got to ask the astronaut questions.
Yeah, I watched the astronauts and just to come here, like to meet our school was, wow, amazing.
Fellow 7th grader Annabelle Busby Sheridan did too, and she got to hold a piece of meteorite from the moon.
It was such a privilege. Like, I never thought, ever that I'd ever be able to meet them.
Splashdown confirmed.
The visit to the capital comes just over 1 month after the 4-person crew splashed down safely in the Pacific Ocean.
We surpassed the furthest distance humans have ever traveled.
Following a groundbreaking mission to the far side of the moon that captured the world's attention. Canadian Jeremy Hansen getting a special thank you from Carney.
This is the flag that flew on the day you splashed down.
Oh, wow.
Hansen's trip into outer space was his first, and it was also the furthest any Canadian astronaut has ever traveled.
Canada very much went to space, and I rode on your shoulders.
That Canadian pride on full display at each stop in the capital, where fans, young and old, were inspired to reach new heights.
I want to be the first man, and if it's possible, to walk on Mars.
The Artemis 2 crew will now head to Montreal, where the astronauts will share more about their thoughts on the mission at the Canadian Space Centre tomorrow. Annie Bergeron-Oliver, CTV News, Ottawa.
That's it for us. Thanks for watching. For your latest local headlines, you can always head to our website. And back tonight with your late news at 11. Bye for now.